Hi everyone and welcome back to another episode of STC BTN. Today we are joined by Mr McCoy who will tell us about his social experiment that he conducted last week called the Sudsy Challenge. So what is the Sudsy Challenge?
Well, the Sansa challenge is actually a competition, and it's a challenge for everyone to actually wear the same clothes for 3 days in a row, and it actually gets people to ask about conversations. So in week 8 of this term, last week, I actually wore the same outfit to school for 3 days in a row, and it was interesting to see that only very few people noticed that I was wearing the exact same outfit for 3 days in a row. Yeah, the whole point of the challenge is that people actually become aware of you wearing the same outfit, and then they start asking questions. And I suppose some of the questions come around the fact that homeless people often wear the same clothes, and that's really where the Sudsy Challenge comes from, and how the Sudsy Challenge came about.
Cool. So why is it called the Sudsy Challenge?
So the Sudsy Challenge is called that because the Sudsy is the name of the van that the company Orange Sky actually used to help wash homeless people's clothes. So they actually go all around Australia in this orange van, that's why I'm wearing an orange shirt, and they actually will wash homeless people's clothes for them. And then while the clothes are being washed, I'll have conversations with them, just have general chit-chats, checking how they're going, feed them, give them some food. To really help them out, because the obstacle of being smelly or wearing the same clothes is actually really a challenge for how homeless people communicate, not only with everyone else, but I suppose going for jobs and things like that. So it's a really cool initiative to wash the clothes of these homeless people, to really make them feel like they're a part of the community, make them really value their human dignity, make them feel they're worthwhile.
And having the conversation as well at the same time.
Perfect. And the whole point of the challenge is really to promote homelessness in terms of the conversations that, sometimes it's the fact that people are scared or avoid conversations with homeless people, and we sometimes treat them as being less than human in those instances when that happens.
Cool. Okay. So who runs the challenge?
So it's a company called Orange Sky, and Orange Sky is about 5 years old. They're two young guys from Queensland who decided to volunteer their time to kind of donate to homeless people in terms of washing clothes and walking around, drive around the streets of Queensland originally and now all across Australia to wash the clothes of homeless people in this really cool initiative. Washing people's clothes actually makes people feel really well supported and connected. And sometimes the obstacles of being smelly or wearing the same clothes actually make people feel like they're not part of the community. And it was funny last week when I did the challenge, no one kind of noticed, and it didn't stop me from doing my job. I still felt like a human being. So it shouldn't really stop people from being a part of the community or feeling connected. We know that 1 in 200 people in Australia are homeless, so it's actually quite a big number. And so anything we can do to support Orange Sky and their initiatives of driving around and washing the clothes of homeless people, I think is a really cool thing we can do.
100%. So what are some stats about homelessness?
Well, some of these stats are pretty alarming, and sometimes they go about sort of squashing some of the rumours and myths about being homeless. So if you looked at 100 people, 18 of those 100 people would actually be under the age of 12, which is a pretty scary stat. 43 of the 100 would actually be female. A lot of people assume that homelessness is just a male thing, so 43% would actually be female. And the other scary thing, I suppose, in our context is that 46% of homeless people in this country were actually born overseas. And that's another area of concern, I suppose, for social welfare and sort of education, making sure that the people who come from overseas are well connected and they can be feeling a part of the community. So those are some of the stats about homelessness that I thought were pretty interesting, and it's certainly things that I wasn't fully aware of.
Yeah, definitely, same. So you say homeless people struggle with connection. So why is connection so important?
Well, we all know connection is important. It's something that we take for granted, but certainly with connection, for homeless people, it's something that we really strive on, and when we have that connection with other people. And probably the biggest part about being connected with others is the support you can get, and it's the support just having a nice conversation with another human being, or simply having access to support and services that are available to people. And if you kind of shut down and you're not able to practice that support system with conversation enough, you kind of lose that skill set. And we don't really it's something, again, we take for granted because the skill set is something that we've just been brought up with. But for a homeless person, they lose their ability to speak to other people. They might be nervous and shy and very scared in these situations. And it probably takes away from their opportunities for connection with other things.
Yeah, definitely. So how can we donate to help this great cause?
So I'm going to share a link with everyone. It's my personal page that I've made from doing the challenge. As I said, I did it last week in week 8 at school, and I'll probably do it again in week 10 or in the school holidays. But any money that gets raised in my sort of organisation on my page goes directly to Orange Sky, and that's all about keeping Orange Sky on the road, perhaps allowing them to buy more vans, allowing them to have more money and resources available to help homeless people in this really great cause. It's also paying for the roles of volunteers to actually get the volunteer system set up, because there's a lot of great volunteer work that goes in it. So it's all about keeping this great organisation on the road, and I think most importantly we can offer that money to a service that I think is really valuable about moving things forward. Homeless people feel a great connection, and I think again it's about making people feel like everybody in society is very valued and everyone has that human dignity that we can all share together.
Definitely. Thank you so much for watching this episode of STC BTN, and thank you Mr McCoy. This is a great initiative that you've taken part in, and be ready for Mr McCoy's link to come out, and if you can help in any way, shape or form, that'd be much appreciated.
And if you see me in this orange shirt, come and have a chat, because that's the key thing about homelessness, that we talk to everybody.